Hey, Edgar here, the host of Snug Wrestling. Are you tired of your flimsy sunglasses that look just like everyone else's? Well, check out our friends from Aquila. These are handcrafted, limited run frames made in Los Angeles using recycled materials and built to last and look clean. They got UV protection, blue light options, and even prescription lenses. Plus, Aquila gives back 1% of every sale that goes to environmental causes. And because you listen to Snug Wrestling, you get 10% off with code SNUG at checkout. Just head to aquila.la and upgrade your eyewear responsibly. That's aquila.la, A-K-I-L-A.la. Save 10% off with promo code SNUG.
Hey, this is your Olympic hero, Kurt Angle, and you're listening to Snug Wrestling. Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
All right, everybody. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Snug Wrestling Podcast. But tonight, it is a special edition. It is the go-home review of Monday Night Raw, the April 13th edition of 2026. We are just a few days out from WrestleMania in Las Vegas #2, and we have got a week of content in store for you guys. Tonight, Tuesday, currently on April 14th, all the way through Sunday, the 19th evening for the review of Night 2 of WrestleMania. We will be on live with Snug Wrestling every single night. So be tuning in with us wherever you get your podcasts, on Apple, Spotify, and we are also live, as always, on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Now, as far as it goes, gentlemen, we had quite a stacked show last night. Our amazing, incredible founder and host, Edgar, was live in attendance for Monday Night Raw last night. So, guys, really quickly, tell me how you're doing. Tell me how excited you are for Mania. But I want to hear from Edgar first. I want him to tell us how it felt in the arena last night and what the live in attendance overall energy was as a go-home show for WrestleMania.
What's up, y'all? Yeah, man, it's good to be here. This week is going to be crazy for us. And yeah, I was pretty pumped for Monday Night Raw. I mean, I always am for the most part. The fans there, they were all pumped. I went with my wife. I went with my cousin who doesn't really watch wrestling as much as we do. So she was asking a bunch of questions and she was like, oh, who are we going to see? Who's going to wrestle? I'm like, honestly, the big matches are all going to be this weekend. This episode of Monday Night Raw, there's going to be a lot of talking because it's the setup for WrestleMania. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, it kind of just felt like this was just a pit stop. You know, it was just, okay, we just have to make this town on our way to Las Vegas. And to me, that's what it felt like. Unfortunately, another go-home show, which we've gone over these before, where it's like, they don't really feel like go-home shows. And it was cool to be there. They had nice moments. I popped for a few moments. But for the most part, it was just whatever, if I'm being honest.
I'm doing good. I got a pain in the ass tomorrow with state testing, so yay. But the show was great, and there's only like a couple things actually one thing that I overall complain about.
Unfortunately, we did not get that 14th match as well, so it seems like that sucker is actually going to be coming out of Friday Night SmackDown for this week. So super excited to see what match that's going to end up being. But it is Mania season, and boy, does it feel like it to me. It really does, because of how strong all of this is, how busy we're going to end up being like we were last year. But my stuff as of late, pretty great. Just been spending all the time I can with my girlfriend. Other than that, that's pretty much it.
That's nice to hear. It's nice to hear. And, you hit the nail on the head there. You know, it is kind of crazy where we are, right? 2 months ago, we had one match announced for this entire show. And it seemed like because of all the injuries and where everything was going, all the twists and turns and the pivots, as WWE likes to call it, thrown in the works, no one knew how this WrestleMania was going to shape up. Right now, even with that 25% off ticket selling they did for Monday to the end of Raw, they only sold an extra about 1,100 for each night. So it looks like Mania is going to be roughly around 41,000 per night this year. But it's just crazy that we went from 2 months ago with one match announced, Roman and Punk, to there are 13 total announced matches as of this moment of recording. But speaking of Roman and Punk, we kick off Monday Night Raw with a Roman Reigns video package, as Punk said later in the night, a political hit piece, a hit job, so to speak. Roman's video package, he says Punk's a liar. He calls him out on everything. And then he starts showing all the things Punk tried to say about Roman. They're things Punk is also guilty of in the past, too. He's guilty of bringing in the Shield, even though he says he never needed help. He's guilty of being a Paul Heyman guy, even though he told Roman, I don't need a wise man. So many different things, right? And not only does Roman shred down Punk for apparently, in his own words, being a hypocrite, and with footage kind of showing a hypocritical nature to Punk, though he is my guy. We also see footage of Pat McAfee, which Roman also addresses. And I find this all interesting, but I will say I thought this was pretty cool because aside from just the comparisons and calling Punk a liar, Roman threatens Punk and he says, if you don't tell the truth, the real truth, I will. You got one last chance, and that's tonight leading into WrestleMania. And that was the opening video package. Gentlemen, what did you think about it?
The opening video package, whenever the thing for Raw first started, I was like, okay, we're getting a video package first, because that's rare. We rarely get video packages. If it's not like a recap on a show or recap of last week, but if it's just like a random video package, that's super rare. So I was surprised. Not a lot of thoughts on the opening video package, other than it's rare to see just not a review or like a recap of what happened on a different show. So I thought it was interesting.
Honestly, here, it's Roman. Roman's big thing is how he speaks and everything else. So that did feel very interesting to start off with Roman Reigns in a video package when we also ended the way we ended, but we'll get to that here in a bit as well. But still, overall, it was just a video package to set up the end of the show is what it really ended up.
Yeah, I didn't think too much of it either. At that point, I was kind of like, okay, can we get on with the show? Because we're kind of just sitting there just watching the screen, and I'm like, I want to see some actual wrestling. I thought the video package was kind of funny. I don't remember exactly why, but I think it was the reason that CM Punk called it a hit piece, because that video package kind of made CM Punk look like a kind of like a liar or a hypocrite. And I wish I could remember the exact moment that I realized that. But maybe you guys remember this video package more, because I remember thinking, oh shit, that kind of just made Punk look like a hypocrite in a way. But other than that, it was whatever.
So we opened the night after that video package from Roman Reigns with a contract signing. Now, this was one of the few misses of the night for me. This and, the second half of this that happens later was actually much, much better. But I thought this was such a waste of time. We had an entire segment for a contract signing to open this show with Brock Lesnar himself, Paul Heyman, Adam Pearce, and Triple H all out in the ring, just for them to yap for 5 seconds, sign a contract, Brock to talk some shit, it's over, music plays, nobody comes out. Now remember, we've had weeks where we've gotten to see great shit from Oba and Brock together, and then last week the pull apart stuff, and then it's just like, hey, we couldn't get a contract signing with these guys in the room, so we're just going to go ahead and have them do it separately. So this took up, between this segment and the Oba contract signing later, like almost 20 minutes of TV time. And it's like for nothing to actually happen other than one good promo getting cut and it being from Oba Femi later. But Heyman says they're going to sign alone. Triple H and Adam Pearce are in the ring, and Brock says no one will even know Oba's name when he gets done with him at WrestleMania. What are your quick thoughts on this, guys? I didn't think there was much to this at all.
Just a quick question. Is it both segments or just one?
Just the one.
Okay.
You know what?
Yeah,
what? To save time, we're going to fuse both. So
okay.
While we're talking about, so that's what Lesnar said. When it comes to Oba, He interrupts Heyman interrupts him during the contract signing. Oba's kind of getting put over. Heyman basically comes out, interrupts him, compares Oba to Lesnar, his career stats to career stats. Oh, you were the greatest combat athlete since Brock Lesnar. You're the biggest beast and monster and unstoppable force since Brock Lesnar. You're the biggest up and coming thing since Brock Lesnar. And he does a great job. The art of a promo is not to just sell tickets to whatever the promo is about, but you're also supposed to find a way to get yourself over while also putting over your opponent at the same time, even if you're on opposite sides. That's the real art to a promo. When it came down to it, Oba cut an extremely impassioned promo. I want to say it might be the best promo I've ever heard out of him. I thought he came off great. And it really adds into the fact that, I think Oba is one of those few guys that comes along that he's got an imposing nature, great look. He's fantastic in the ring. He's got a connection with the audience, an aura, and the guy knows how to talk on the mic. He's very good on the mic, a lot better than I think I've ever heard him sound, I'll reiterate. And I thought he sold himself so well here that it made me more excited to see him beat Brock Lesnar. But I thought he was tremendous here. And out of this entire two-part segment, I think it was all unnecessary. But I will say the good thing to come out of this was Oba's promo. And I think he just looked like $1 million and sounded like $1 million on the mic.
Yeah, definitely. I really think that Brock didn't really do anything except it felt like it just cut Oba down what Brock said. I mean, Paul Heyman was the main one talking and shut up. But it felt like Brock was just putting Oba down. Now, when it comes to Oba, yes, his promo was amazing. But, I mean, Heyman wasn't telling any lies if you think he was, because he really wasn't. I mean, Oba is the next big thing. I don't know why I just had a brain fart real quick. But Oba is the next big thing. He's the next upcoming thing, the next thing that everyone wants to see as the face of the business, as I guess you could say Brock was once. I don't even know if he was once, but yeah, Oba's promo was probably the best I've heard him cut in a while. Probably the best ever that he's ever done. But I really enjoyed the Oba part. The Brock part, didn't really give a shit.
Yeah, Brock Lesnar didn't really do shit. It was really just really boring for me. It was just like, hey, let's talk for a little bit. Let's sign the paper. That's it. But Oba Femi's side of things really, really pushed it even further. Because if there's anything that watching NXT in the past has shown, it is that Oba Femi can cut a damn good promo. He did while he was on NXT, when he was NXT champion, all of that. When he was North American champion, he cut the best promos of the goddamn night. He was that good. So overall, he can cut a good promo, and he can push events like no other. He did with Stand and Deliver while he was on there, all of that. So clearly, Oba Femi is easily one of the greatest on the mic to come out of NXT. He really is. So it gets me super, super excited, specifically from Oba Femi on this match, especially with the fact that, if I'm correct, isn't this kicking off the weekend, or is that for Sunday? Okay, so kicking off Sunday. It still works with the fact that this is the one match that will be within that first hour for WrestleMania Sunday. This is what people are going to see for free before buying the rest. So this is going to be an interesting shot to see.
So I don't think it's actually going to be for free. I think that if you want to watch that match, then you have to have ESPN, right?
Yeah, so basically the first hour of night 1 and 2 is free on ESPN. But you have to already have ESPN, not specifically the app. You have to have the channel ESPN. Not everybody has that in their channel packages with their whomever their broadcasting providers are. But you get the first hour; it'll be streaming free to ESPN if you already have ESPN. After that, you'll need to switch over to the app if you want to finish the show. It's basically an appetizer. So like night one, we have the tag match with the Usos and the Vision opening. And then on Saturday, it'll be Oba and Brock opening. And there's going to be like 2 matches per each night that will be on that 1 hour free.
Yeah, so I was 50-50 on this. I wasn't sure how I felt because on one hand, I understand why they kept Brock and Oba apart. You know, it's before the big match at WrestleMania. That's when they're going to get their hands on each other in an official match. You know, it makes sense. I get it, right? We've already seen them face to face multiple times. However, as a paying customer, as a paying fan that was there in the arena, one of the major selling points was Brock Lesnar is going to be there and Oba Femi is going to be there. And they're supposed to be under the same roof. And we see Brock Lesnar show up and he's there for like 5 minutes. He does his entrance, which got a nice pop. That was cool to see. And he says like 3 words and that's it. He leaves. And yes, later on we see Oba Femi. He cut a promo, a really good promo, a really great fucking promo. Like I literally got chills hearing it like live there in person, seeing the crowd reaction and how over this guy is. You want to talk about creating a star. Like the first few weeks, Oba Femi was kind of like he was getting over, but not to this level. And now he's about to face Brock Lesnar. Now the people are invested. Now the people care. Now the people want to see Oba win. They're getting behind every word he's saying. They believe him. Oba believes it. And maybe that's another reason why they kept them apart, because I don't think we get that promo from Oba if Brock Lesnar's in the ring, because now Oba has the whole attention on him and he was able to cut that promo. So it was kind of like, man, I liked it, but at the same time, it was like, man, it was a little disappointing.
Yeah, I completely understand that. Oba's in that coveted Jey Uso spot this year, that Sammy spot, that Daniel Bryan spot, that Kofi spot, where the fans are more behind him than anybody else on the roster. That's the fans' guy right now. And we'll be getting to predictions tomorrow for night one, and on Thursday for night two. Thursday specifically, because this will be on night two. We're going to go ahead and talk about why whomever we believe should win that match will win it. But it does beg the question, if they don't pull the trigger on him right now, while he's got a fresh Lesnar at Mania, the spotlight of all spotlights, and he doesn't go over on Sunday, do the fans hijack the show, especially if that match is open? So when it comes down to it, I like that. I like Oba, didn't like the Brock stuff. But speaking of incredibly oddly paced segments continuing, this is the third segment we had. We have not gotten to the first match of the night yet. You'd think WWE would correct this by now. I want your quick thoughts on this, gentlemen. I show Speed at a video package where he was basically training with Logan and Theory reluctantly. He didn't want to do it. He's like, I don't want to be a part of this. I don't want to fight nobody. They keep ignoring him. They get him in the ring and they start teaching him how to run the ropes, how to bump, everything else. Oh yeah, you're a pro wrestler now after 2 minutes. Yeah, it's so easy, right? Yeah, of course it is. And then Speed at the end actually seems to be enjoying himself with them. He seems to be getting more on their side. He seems to be having more fun. When it comes down to it, this is very quick, concise. I understand wanting to do something because we introduced I Show Speed to WWE a year ago. You need something to do with the vision for Mania. But this feels it still feels very unnecessary to have his involvement. But again, you don't want to leave LA Knight out of it, because then LA Knight gets screwed when he was a part of this story for 7 months, 8 months. But what did you guys think about this? Your quick thoughts.
Yeah, now looking at this video package, I definitely can tell that this is just something to have the Usos, LA Knight, and the Vision, just something to do at Mania, because, I mean, all of their stuff is, like, all the things that if we feel like we should have gotten, we don't, because, I mean, Bronson Reed is out, and I feel like Bronson could have gone in this spot if I didn't see him having a match with Royce Keys, which that would be an amazing match. But getting off topic, if Bronson Reed wasn't injured, I could see him being in this match. But I mean, it's just something for all of them to do, them being the Usos, LA Knight, and the Vision, because once again, their stuff has been cut due to injury. I feel like.
I didn't like it. This entire thing just feels like it's shoehorned in. And if you want actual footage of this man training, it's literally on this man's YouTube channel. He did it with a man that is bigger than Logan Paul and Austin Theory combined. That being with Randy Orton. So if you want actual footage of this man training and fully getting ready for this, it's literally free on his YouTube. You really don't need this video package.
I don't have a problem with this match. I think it's going to be entertaining. You know, we get to see LA Knight. I Show Speed is a good athlete. It's going to be good, but this was just a video package. There's really nothing much to add about it.
Well, I mentioned it because, you know, again, it's a go-home show, right? You've got to try to get at least as many of your matches for your brand mentioned, hopefully, before the actual the matches this weekend, which I'll make that same point later when we get to the Becky and AJ video package. But essentially, well, we won't even get into it. I'm just going to put it this way. Neither of them were even here tonight. Neither of them were even here last week. They were here the week before that. So we're talking 2 weeks since they've been on TV. And the only way we're going to hype their matchup on the Go Home show is a video package. So that's a little irritating. But we finally get to the first match of this evening, 3 segments, 2 of them video packages, and we're finally at the first match. Charlotte Flair, my GOAT, woo, versus Lyra, someone else who the fans go woo for. This was the first part of the night where I truly realized, aside from Lesnar's entrance, the crowd, I thought, at least through the TV, was very good tonight. This crowd was very behind Charlotte at the beginning of this match. I mean, a lot. And then they started coming alive from Lyra. They seemed to stay very strong for the majority of this match. Lyra wins because Bayley actually interfered and cheated on Lyra's behalf. Lyra wasn't even aware. Charlotte gets Lyra up for the O'Connor roll-up pin and then flicks Charlotte's leg so she loses her positioning, and it gives Lyra just enough to roll Charlotte back through for her own O'Connor roll. And Lyra Valkyria gets a pin on Charlotte Flair. Now, this is also kind of getting a win back for Bayley and Lyra in defense of Bayley, whom got screwed over on SmackDown by getting beat by Alexa because of Charlotte. So Flair loses to Lyra. I thought this was a really good match. And when it comes down to it, that's a big fucking win for Lyra. She just pinned the most decorated women's champion in WWE history. And she did it on a Monday Night Raw.
I don't know why I'm mentioning this here, because this was one of the matches that I had no issue with. But a lot of the matches tonight felt boring. Like they were just here to be here. There was only like this one and 2 others, I want to say, that actually sparked my interest, but the others just felt like they were there just to be there. The match was good. I was shocked that Lyra pinned Charlotte. But this shows like the ending of the match and stuff. This shows that it's just not it's not just going to be the Bellas, Charlexa, and Lyra and Bayley against the irresistible forces. No, they're all going to be at each other's throats. So I'm more excited going into this match at WrestleMania. I already was, but I'm more excited. This has boosted my excitement level and want to see this match.
Yeah, now I actually care about this match even more, simply because of the fact that I didn't really care much about it because the Bellas, fucking hate the Bellas, fuck the Bella twins. But at the same time here, now I actually care about it. And again, I'm with Toxic on this. I am shocked that they had Lyra Valkyria pin Charlotte fucking Flair. But then again, it's Charlotte Flair, and just pinning her, just being in the ring with her, is going to push Lyra even more. simply because of the fact that you are in the ring with the woman who has held the most title, like in WWE completely. So at that point, just this match alone is going to help Lyra so much.
Well, there's not really much more I can add about this match. You guys pretty much covered it all. I mean, this was a big win for Lyra. Um, and I'm glad that she got the win, even though Charlotte was still protected. I was rooting for Lyra. I mean, I'm a fan of hers. I mean, at this point, I want to see her get put over more, grow more, get more established. Lyra is who I'm talking about here. So, yeah, man, I was really surprised that she got the win. But I'm really glad that she did. That was great.
All right, moving on, sticking with the women. Stephanie Vaquer came out to address Liv Morgan. Now, last time we saw Stephanie Vaquer, she was damn near breaking Liv Morgan's neck last week when she hit her with a very stiff forearm smash to the back of the head, which careened Liv Morgan's face directly into Roxanne Perez's face. And social media showed us after there was a massive golf ball sized bruise on Liv's head. And we never really saw what happened to Roxanne, but they were both apparently reportedly on concussion protocol last week because they did, in fact, legitimately collide very hard skull to skull. So Stephanie came out tonight to address the stuff that Liv's been talking about. But before Stephanie can even get off one word of a promo, Liv Morgan jumps her immediately and viciously starts attacking her. They get pulled apart. Liv insults Stephanie's mom again, saying something along the lines of, I know your mom is like a loser or a piece of trash or a piece of garbage, but she raised a bitch of a daughter or something like that. And they have more of a brawl. They separate again. And then essentially they call each other out, come together, and they got to drag Liv off, screaming very violently. This was extremely heated. The audience loved it. And we got a closer look at Liv's face. Just so much yellowing and bruising all over the eyes from last week. She's going into Mania with a chip on her shoulder, and I wouldn't be surprised if this Saturday or Sunday, whichever night the match is, that Stephanie Vaquer doesn't get some kind of receipt in the ring from Liv. Because you smack me skull first like that with somebody else, you're getting a receipt. But what are your quick thoughts on this, gentlemen?
Yeah, seeing that picture of JD, Raquel, and Dom all making fun of Liv's big ass bump on her head, looking at JD's face, I just knew that he was glad that it finally wasn't him. But yeah, Stephanie is definitely going to get a receipt in the ring on Saturday. So I'm excited to see where this all leads because I'm been iffy about this story.
I love this. I really do. And Roxanne did, in fact, post a picture of her face as well. And that golf ball sized bump is also on her forehead as well. So clearly, both of them are struggling with that one. But overall, this I'm hyped for. This made me even more hyped for it. And this is also fresh off of Liv Morgan releasing her song as well, Trouble. So she put that out, and all of a sudden, this is also a thing. So I'm super hyped to see how this match actually goes.
Yeah, unlike the women's tag team fiasco that they're doing, I'm actually really looking forward to this. Stephanie and Liv, the segment was heated. It was like the first time that I felt like during the show, like, okay, finally we're getting something. Finally, something is actually happening here. We got some real action. I mean, I just wasn't too thrilled about the opening match, so I'm like, okay, now we're seeing Stephanie Vaquer, the women's world champion, and Liv Morgan get their hands on each other. Okay, that's entertaining. That's cool. And yeah, for good or for the bad reasons, like that accident that they had, it adds to the story, it adds to the feud, and it's kind of like, all right, let's make chicken salad out of chicken shit. They had that horrible accident, but they have added it to the story, and it just makes it more intense, more heated, a bigger rivalry. So I was really thrilled to see these two get their hands on each other last night on Raw.
Yeah, and I liked it because again, this was nearly an hour into the show, and finally something for one of these matches actually gets physical. Obviously, the show opens with the Roman Punk segment, that's talking. Then we get the contract stuff with Lesnar, that's talking. Then we get the stuff with ISO Speed and the Vision training, that's talking with a little bit of action. Then we finally get to the opening match where these women will be involved this weekend in a match, but it's a match, so it's obviously going to be physical. And the only, angle after the match is them just kind of pushing each other and shoving each other. Nothing comes out of it. So we finally get to something visceral. We get to something aggressive, something that says, hey, it is full fucking gears, pedal to the metal ahead on the road to WrestleMania. And this shit was extremely violent, especially for someone the size of Liv. That's a lot of rage in such a small young woman. Up next, we had the LA Knight, the Usos, and the MFTs in a six-man tag ahead of WrestleMania. Now, this got set up from the segment about a segment before the Stephanie Vicaire segment, where essentially backstage, LA Knight and the Usos are dapping it up, ready for this weekend. And we get a surprise stop in from the MFTs from SmackDown, Solo and his crew. And Solo decides to start mouthing off, telling the Usos, why are you hanging out with him? You guys are an embarrassment. You're embarrassing the family. And they didn't respond too kind with that. But before the Usos could really clap back, LA Knight stuck up for him and said, you know what? How about the three of us and any three of you goons meet us in the ring and we'll get some practice in ahead of this weekend in a six-man tag against you guys tonight. Yeah. And so we lead into the six-man tag. Now the match is going on. It's actually pretty decent. And eventually when the match starts breaking down a little bit and it looks like just maybe the MFTs might have the upper hand, Tama Tonga shows up from the side of I believe, the ring bell side, and essentially just stares a hole straight through Solo. Solo gets distracted. He's not on the apron. Tama Tonga gets in his face. But Solo's shouting, where have you been? Where were you? Where have you been? Tama refuses to answer. He just takes off his sunglasses and stares right at Solo. And because there's so much distraction going on, JC Mateo's distracted. They're all away from the ring. They leave Tonga Loa in there by himself, who's distracted as well, to get spun around in a BFT from LA Knight, eats the pin. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. And the Usos and LA Knight go over before WrestleMania. We don't see any extra angle, no physical breakdown or anything from the MFTs to Tama Tonga. That's probably going to be something this Friday on SmackDown's Go Home show. But what do you guys think about this entire thing?
Going on the match was amazing. Probably match of the night for me. They went balls to the walls, everyone in this match. I just know the people that just hate Jey Uso with a passion, when they saw him do that slide, and then I don't know what it was, I knew they were just going to be on him like flies on a piece of shit or something like that. But hey Tommy, let's say I may have figured out what if they were to add another WrestleMania match. I think it's going to be Tama Tonga versus Solo Sikoa at WrestleMania. I could see them doing that, and because on SmackDown, for the go home show of WrestleMania, we're getting an 8-man tag. I think it's a street fight between the Wyatts and the MFTs. I'm pretty sure it's like Solo, JC, Tama, and Tonga. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. But I could see Tama Tonga betraying Solo and the MFTs in that match, having the Wyatts get the pin, and then we get them two at Mania. I could see them doing that, and it makes complete sense for them to do this. The right team won this match because, I mean, they needed it going into WrestleMania. I mean, the MFTs, what are they doing at Mania? Not much yet, hopefully. So I like this match and this entire segment. It was amazing.
Tox, as much as I would love to see that match, not yet. Just not yet. The cracks are just now like fully starting to get bigger. Let those cracks get even bigger before that happens. So maybe Backlash is what I'm thinking for it. Because at Backlash at that point, it would allow it to be even bigger than it currently already. But the match itself, it was a good match, as Toxic said. Right man won here. They really did that. Again, they needed it because, they have that 6-man tag at Mania. So I'm very interested to see where in the world this goes and how fully the Usos and LA Knight can work at a place as big as WrestleMania.
Yeah, I love the match, dude. I love seeing LA Knight teaming up with the Usos and then being on the same page. All three of these guys are over. Like, the fans were loving it, right? And also, you got the history with Solo Sikoa, obviously going back to the bloodline. So, it just made perfect sense, right? The match it worked out great. But the finish, what am I missing here, you guys? Because this made no sense to me. And you guys help me out here, because if I remember correctly, last Friday night on SmackDown, Tama Tonga wrestled a Jacob Fatu for Solo Sikoa. Solo was like, Tama, handle my lightweight, basically. And Tama Tonga was like, yeah, you know how it goes, or it is what it is, or something like that, right? Pretty much telling Jacob, like, yeah, bro, I got Solo's back. I'm going to ride for him. Then we fast forward 3 days later, and he shows up and he costs Solo a match?
Well,
What
so
the fuck is going on?
So here's the good thing about watching at home: when you get more context. Because I know you're in the arena, so it's different. You guys don't hear the commentary. So not only during the video, the backstage segment before that set up this match, where they're looking for Tama, they go on, keep saying they can't find him anywhere. We don't know. No one's heard from Tama. No one knows where he is. And then commentary during the match puts over the fact that Tama spent a little bit of time in Japan with Shinsuke recently. And Shinsuke Nakamura, who is a babyface, has been telling Tama that, why are you helping MFTs? Why are you with Solo? You need to break out away from them and go on your own. You need to have your own singles run. They put that over on commentary. So if you're in the arena, you don't hear this. But at home, this was told to us by Michael Cole. So that's basically the context for why he's here like this now.
That's still ridiculous, because again, for the people in the arena, we just see Tama Tonga show up out of nowhere, and it's just like, what the fuck? Like, if that was going to be part of the story, then, hey, we have so many fucking video packages already. They couldn't played something for us so we can know what the fuck is going on.
Did you guys not get the backstage segment in the arena to set up the match?
Yeah, we got that, but nothing about fucking Shinsuke Nakamura or anything that would lead me to believe, like, oh shit, Tama Tonga is going to cost Solo Sikoa the match.
See, this is one thing that's always annoyed me about pro wrestling. I genuinely believe that WWE, AEW, because some indies do it, where commentary is heard throughout the arena. I genuinely don't understand why commentary can't be like a baseball game. Like, you hear the actual commentators talking over the whole game. I don't know why you can't do that for wrestling. I feel like it would add to the show so much more for people in attendance to have that emotion from Michael Cole and Corey Graves and all the other guys. In that moment, you get to hear them calling it. I feel like that's such a huge part of it, because you feel more invested having someone tell the story alongside of you visually seeing it.
Triple A does it.
But I think that really lets down a lot of the in-arena attendees. But let's move on to the next segment. Gunther graced us with his presence, and I'm starting to see a reoccurring theme here with a lot of these segments and matches tonight. Guy comes down, guy gets interrupted, or girl comes down, gets screwed out of a match, because the match right after this literally mirrors exactly what happened in Lyra versus Charlotte, but we'll get into that in a second. Gunther comes down just like Lyra Valkyrie, or just like Stephanie Valkyrie did. And before this man can get a word out, gets jumped from behind by Seth Rollins. Now, look, they get into it big. They get into it heavy. Gunther gets out of the arena, or gets out of the ring, goes up the ramp, and Seth starts shit talking him on the mic, and he's telling him, look, I'm going to finish you at WrestleMania. I don't know what your problem is, but I expect you. You owe me an explanation. I demand a reason for what you've done. If you are a man, if you aren't a coward, if you are everything you say you are, you will get in this ring face to face and tell me what the fuck is your problem. Gunther decides, you know what? I'm not going to pussy out. Runs down, grabs the mic, gets in the arena, or gets in the ring, and then literally gets forehead to forehead with Seth. Extremely aggressive, lots of heat, and basically tells him, it's personal to me because when you were champion with the Vision, you ducked me. You never gave me a shot. You never came looking for me. You claim to be the best. You walk around and tell everyone how good you are, that you're the head of this company, you're the best wrestler in the world. But here I am ending people's careers, putting and breaking records, setting records, and you don't even have the nerve of the balls to face me for a title match. I think you're afraid of me. I think you're ducking me. How dare you call yourself the best in the world? I am the best in this ring, and I'm going to prove it at WrestleMania. And he basically says he wants to set the record straight. Seth is not the best in WWE, that the Ring General, the career killer, is the best. And look, as far as thrown together stories go, because of injury and all the things that made it so these guys had to wind up together, a lot of people hate the fact that this match is happening. But then there's the people like myself who were like, are you fucking kidding me? This match could be match of the weekend. Look who's in the ring. Okay, you're talking about Seth Rollins versus Gunther. That match is going to fucking bang hard. And when it comes down to it, for what they could do to get this story set up for the match, I don't hate this reasoning. It does make sense. Seth goes on about being the best. He touted about being the greatest thing since sliced bread when he was the head of the Division. Here's Gunther taking out legends left and right. But hey, you didn't come square me up. You went after all the other guys. You think you're the best? Prove it. Good old-fashioned competition, cut and dry. I love it.
I hate that the match is happening, not for who's in the ring. Obviously, the match is going to be great, but I don't know. I hate the fact that Braun wasn't able to come back in time because we got this, and we all know what I feel about Gunther. I don't know, it just feels super thrown together, which the story is actually shaping out to be really good because it makes sense. I don't even have any other words for it. That's how fucking, I don't even know. But I'm excited to see the match at Mania, and I am so glad that this is not a retirement match because if it was, I was going to cry. I'm kidding.
Yeah, thank God this isn't a retirement match. But then again, there's no way this was going to end up being a retirement match. Seth still has a lot to go in the tank. And if CM Punk, as he has said in the past, can also have a lot left in the tank, and he has announced that he's not retiring anytime soon either. So if Punk can do it, so can Seth at this point. But this segment, it works because there's not a single point where Gunther was lying. There's really not. You cannot point at a single spot and just go, hey, Gunther, you're wrong. Like, no, because it's true. Every single bit of it. Seth never went against Gunther when he was World Heavyweight Champion. And honestly, I wish it was as World Heavyweight Champion. But here we are, and we are finally getting this match. And I think I'm going to be hyped into it.
Quick shout out to Harry Manbuns on the comments, says Braun is goated. Yeah, Braun is definitely goated.
That is my brother, my younger brother, Brandon. Shout out to Harry Manbuns.
Well, you guys, I get where you guys are coming from when it comes to this storyline that they made up in very, very last minute, it feels like, because that's what it feels like to me. It just feels thrown together. It just feels like really forced. And to me, for my personal taste, I think the more entertaining story, the more interesting one is the one about, this could potentially lead to a match versus Brock Lesnar, and that might still be the case, but they're going to take us through like this different route first and then eventually lead to that Brock Lesnar thing. If that's even the plan. That might not even be the plan, because if it's not in the plan, then why not bring that up? Why not throw that element in there? I think the fans would eat that up a little bit more. Hey, and by the way, yeah, I'm trying to prove that I'm better than you, Seth, but, maybe I'll get a really big favor from Paul Heyman, or I don't know, something. Give us a little tease or something. But it was just like, okay, why wait until now to say all these things to Seth Rollins if that's really the case here? It's just like,
I mean, it's
I don't know.
also because Seth was injured and he didn't have the. But and Gunther's smart. He wasn't going to come after Seth with all of Seth's goons running around him for 3 weeks straight. And we did get that last week during the segment when Gunther literally ran into Paul Heyman backstage, and Heyman's like, "Thank you so much." Like, I didn't do it for a big thank you. I did it so you'll owe me a huge favor down the road.
Right, but this was the big moment, the big reveal where we finally find out what the actual reason is. And Gunther mentioned something that happened from Seth Rollins was World Heavyweight Champion. How long ago was that?
I think October, November when he dropped it.
Last year?
Yeah, because he had to drop it due to injury, his shoulder. He never lost. Yeah, he never lost the title. He had to vacate it.
And how long was Seth Rollins champion for? My point is, it just seems like they could have done this a long time ago. If this is the reason why Gunther wants to fuck Seth Rollins up, is just like,
well,
too little, too late for my personal taste.
I see some of it because if you look at the timeline, Gunther lost the world title to CM Punk at night 1 main event of SummerSlam. Punk gets cashed in on by Seth immediately after Punk beats Gunther. So literally, Seth's involvement with Gunther was all the way back at SummerSlam, technically or indirectly, because as soon as Punk beat Gunther, Seth came out and stole the title off of Punk and then held it for 2 months and then got injured and had to vacate it. And so I understand where it doesn't make sense because, well, in those 2 months, he was injured for 2 of those weeks. And he was focused on, everything else, but it's still like there's still some small thread there, it may not be significant, but there is some kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hyped for the match, but it just seems like they want us to like be pulling for straws here. Like,
no, absolutely. And I don't disagree. I think you're very correct there. I think that's a very valid opinion. I still would have much rather they waited a week, like I said last week, and fucking put Rey Mysterio in the match he was supposed to have with Gunther. We didn't need another person added to that ladder. So, speaking of, we're going to get to the next match. This is Io versus Kairi Sane. Now, this is interesting. It only for the reason that, again, I said it's like throughout the night they repeat these segments, right? So far now, that's 2 segments where someone's come out to talk and gotten jumped. And we had the match with Charlotte and Lyra, where Lyra won because of interference and cheating on Bayley's behalf. Well, Kairi Sane got a very big win here and pinned Io Sky due to cheating and interference because of Asuka. The match goes back and forth. Asuka interferes multiple times. Rhea finally gets sick of it, comes out, but as soon as Rhea gets her hands on Asuka, Jade Cargill comes out and then jumps Rhea. Now, while Rhea is distracted by Jade, Asuka then interferes again and pushes Io off the top when she's about to go for the over the moonsault, and then gets rolled up by Kairi Sane. And this is a very big win for Kairi. But it's basically almost exactly what happened in Charlotte versus Lyra and what happened on SmackDown with Alexa and Bayley. So I feel like we're repeating a lot of stuff here on the road to WrestleMania, but I thought this was fine. I don't like that we're feeding Io 2 losses back to back, one clean to Jade, And in this one, where she's at least protected in her defeat from of Kyrie. But what did you guys think about this one? Just your quick thoughts. I don't think it's too much that needs dwelling on.
No, I really didn't care. Like I said, a lot of the matches just felt like it was there just to be there because they didn't have any other thing planned, and wham bam, that's there. So yeah, I didn't really care for it.
I'm with Tox. I didn't really care much about this one. It's just there just so they can fill in the card and have less talking. Because let's be honest here, if this match wasn't here, it was going to end up being another talking segment. So that's really my biggest thing, is that that's what it would have ended up being. So it's the only reason why the match is here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably why I was into this match. The only reason, because I'm like, I feel like this episode of Raw needed more action, more matches, you know? So I was like, all right, I'm not a fan of Kairi Sane. I'm not really huge on Io Sky, but at least we're getting some type of physicality here, you know? And it wasn't until Rhea Ripley's music hit where the place fucking exploded because it's Rhea Ripley. And then Jade Cargill comes out, and then we get the chaos, and then we get the big upset from Kairi Sane, and it's like, holy shit, Io Sky lost 2 times in a row for the past 2 weeks. What the hell? But yeah, it's just adds more to the build that, hey, everyone expects Rhea Ripley to win at WrestleMania, but Jade Cargill has been getting the better of Rhea Ripley more than I want to say Rhea has as of late. So yeah, it just adds more to that mystery. Like, damn, is Rhea Ripley actually gonna be able to do it? I don't know. So for all of that, I think this was really enjoyable.
Well, I'd also like to reiterate that when it comes down to it, the story that I kind of feel like they've missed the mark on really honing in on between Jade and Rhea. And I feel like this is something that should have been put over on commentary or needs to be mentioned on SmackDown before Mania this weekend. The entire reason Io lost clean to Jade is to tell the story that they are failing to tell the audience. If Rhea has never been able to beat Io on her own, ever, but Jade could do it clean, then what chance does Rhea stand at beating Jade? And I think that's an important story thread that they have failed to tell the audience. And I'm hoping, we've got one SmackDown left, I'm hoping that gets... All right, moving on to something that I don't know how I feel about this. Liv Gone Mad. Liv Morgan's music video. I don't know if this was cringe. I don't know if it was creative. She's definitely in her Britney Spears era. As someone who was a 90s kid, grew up on Britney Spears, Avril Lavigne, Gwen Stefani. You know, I grew up on this shit. Christina Aguilera, the pop icon girl, Lizzie McGuire, you fucking name it. So I'm used to seeing this type of thing, you know, 25 years ago. When I see Liv viciously attack Stephanie in such a serious, aggressive, mauling, damn near like murderous capacity, to then turn around with backup dancers and giving its Britney bitch energy, which I love Britney, I almost felt like this completely took any of my believability that Liv would beat Stephanie out, because you went from vicious attack to semi-cringe and incredibly misplaced music video where she sang in it. And I was glad my wife went to sleep, because this is one of the segments where I thought, man, I am so glad that I don't have non-wrestling friends over to see this while I'm watching this, because this is the segment you don't want to show your non-wrestling friends, because then they look at you and go, what the fuck are you watching? Though I thought it was creative and very well done, I think I didn't like it. What did you guys think of this? Quick thought.
Yeah, it was cringe. I mean, the song itself, it's the song. I just genuinely didn't know what to think. I wasn't even paying attention to it. I didn't even pay attention to it. I was just playing on my phone the entire time. Playing on my phone the entire time, going through that. I'm like, why the fuck is this here? Can we please move on to the next thing? I don't care.
Oh, this boy killed me. He just goes, it's a song.
All right, so here's my thing on it. So it is a song that exists. That's pretty much it. I look at it because I didn't even see this when it first aired. I legitimately had to watch this earlier on today because I completely missed it because I was slightly doing something else during this portion. Because I heard the start of it. I'm like, well, I'm going to go do this other thing now. I know this has no effect on anything. So I ended up listening to it today and watching the music video. I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, Liv, you were supposed to be this super serious character, this super big, badass girl, despite her size being tiny. And all of a sudden, you put this out. It is a thing that exists. Do I think that it should have happened in the first place? Absolutely not. But it happened. So it's a thing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's not for me either, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if she comes out to that song at WrestleMania when she performs it, for her entrance. I think that'd be funny, but I think it fits her. I mean, for what they're trying to do for her, the character that they're trying to build for her, I think maybe the timing is weird. Like, why would you do it now? But then again, maybe it's not. It's WrestleMania. It's right when everyone is watching, and good for Liv Morgan. She's always talked about wanting to go Hollywood, and she's done a couple things here and there. She was on Chucky, so it looks like her plan to become a huge star outside of wrestling. I think it's finally gonna happen, and the fact that she has WWE backing her up and promoting the shit out of it on TV for her, I think it's great for her. Yeah, not for me.
Yeah, I absolutely do think it's great for her. It's just, I think it was misplaced. But I do think, why debut it here? Why not just like do it as an ad break for WrestleMania? You know what I mean? I think that it has more place there for the pomp and circumstance. Music video, Las Vegas, lights and cameras. It feels more like it belonged there. But moving on to the final match tonight, Javon Evans and Dragon Lee versus Rusev and JD McDonough. I don't know how this match got put together. I feel like it was thrown together. I saw nothing about why this match happened, other than they're all in the ladder match this weekend. Dragon Lee basically gets the win with a great styles clash on JD McDonough. And after the match, Rusev beats the shit out of everybody. He tries to keep attacking Dragon Lee, then outruns Ray for the save, but he gets very put down quick. So does Penta, who runs out to help Ray. And then even when JD is like, oh, thank God, hey, man, we're in this together, he then turns and beats the shit out of JD. Rusev stands tall and basically tortures Dragon Lee with the Acolyte. And that was basically it. So now all these men are in a ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship this weekend. What'd you guys think? Your quick thoughts.
This was one of the matches that I felt like deserved, or not deserved, but made sense to be here, even though it was a tag match with, the heels and the face, even though JD and Rusev are the two only heels in the match. I felt that, everyone's been saying, we have a bunch of all of these high flyers, and then Rusev. I feel like they basically shut that up and saying that Rusev could it possibly do this at WrestleMania, which do I think he does? No, because when are they ever going to treat Rusev better? Probably never. I'm kidding. But I felt like they did great with putting Rusev over at the end of the match, because the match itself, yes, it was great. Dragon Lee and Javon work amazing as a team, but Rusev just destroying, I feel like that's going to do wonders for him going into the WrestleMania match and possibly further on. And I'm excited to see if they stay on the momentum after WrestleMania, because he's gonna carry that momentum on through WrestleMania. I can guarantee you that.
Match itself was great. I had a lot of fun with it. It was the high flyers against the heels. That's just what it was. and I'm so happy it went the way it did. What I was not expecting was the beatdown from Rusev this week at the end of this. I was shocked on that because I'm just like, okay, match is over. That's our hype. Nope. Rusev going all out, going after everybody, beats the crap out of Rey Mysterio, beats the crap out of literally everyone in that ring. I am extremely hyped for this ladder match, and it does make me believe that Rusev actually might stand a chance compared to all of the other high flyers there. But I'm still very interested to see how in the world Rusev does against all of them.
Also, nice to see a ladder match for a something hanging above the ring at WrestleMania after so many years. I mean, ever since they moved Money in the Bank off, I think the last time we had a title ladder match, multi-man match at Mania was maybe when Zack Ryder won the Intercontinental Championship. It's been a long time. So kind of nostalgic to see this ladder match here.
Well, I didn't think I was going to say this, but after seeing what went down last night on Monday Night Raw when it comes to this, I'm actually looking forward to that 6-man ladder match because I wasn't, if I'm being honest. But man, they brought it. Like, especially after sitting through this entire Raw of, promos, video packages, the few matches that we had were, 2 women's matches. The other one was, the 6-man tag. This tag team match, they brought it. Like JD, all hard hitting, high intensity, high flying. This match had it all. And then with that statement made by Rusev, and then the run in by Rey Mysterio, that got a huge pop. This was my favorite match, my favorite segment, everything of the entire night. And it was from a segment that, a match, to build up a match that I honestly did not care for. Yes, I love Penta. I'm a huge fan, but it's just like, 6-man ladder match. All right. Oh, I feel like we see a lot of these gimmick matches all the time. So it's just like, okay, we're just going to see another one. But nah, man, if this is what they're going to bring at, for WrestleMania, I'm all for it. This was dope.
Up next was the main event segment of Roman and CM Punk, their final face-to-face before their main event championship match this Sunday. Now, Roman makes his entrance and Punk makes his entrance, but makes it through the crowd, Shield style, little mind games ahead of the match. Punk gets down to the ring, and Roman says, if you get in this ring, we're not going to need microphones. So Punk antagonizes him and gets on the apron instead and stares him dead in the eyes. Now, Punk says he will tell the truth. As Roman told him in the opening video package, you better tell the truth or I will. Punk says the truth is he envies Roman because everything Roman has was handed to him. He says he hates how many times Roman main event in Mania, no matter how hard Punk worked just to get to 1. He says he hates his title reign of 1,316 days and how hard he knows Roman had to work his ass off to get there and make that work. Punk says he hates himself. He hates that he used Sika's name in vain and apologized because he loves the old timers. He respects them. He loves Alpha. And he says, tell me when I'm telling lies. But the moment Punk apologizes for Sika, he then gets in the ring because now that he said the apology, now he knows that Roman will hear him out. So he tells Roman, tell me when I'm telling lies. And then Roman admits Punk is telling the truth, all except the last thing Punk said, where he said that at the end of the night, they're going to be saying, and still your world heavyweight champion of the world, CM Punk. He says, no, they'll be saying, and new world champion, your tribal chief, the OTC, Roman Reigns. Roman also then tells the truth. He admits he hates Punk, but what he hates is his connection with the fans. And he hopes that when Roman's gone one day, that they'll chant his name for 10 years the same way they did for Punk. Roman says Sunday, this little experiment with Punk is over, and the WWE will finally be back to the top that it used to be when Roman was champion. Now, really quickly, I love this because though we could have got something aggressive and violent, and with the MFTs on Raw and Usos there, I honestly thought the segment was going to end with all the Samoans putting that hit in on Punk. I thought that's what it was going to. But what we got instead, what I thought was perfect. Completely summed up Roman and Punk's entire history together. This professional jealousy that turned into a personal hatred. Because they're both two sides of the same coin. Roman had all the success, but it took him so long to get that connection with the fans. But from day one, Punk organically had the fans. They loved him, but he could never get the success that Roman had. They are so much alike, it's actually scary. And this promo summed up perfectly what their rivalry has symbolized this entire time. That at the end of the day, they only hate each other because they envy one other thing that the other person has over them: success and love of the audience. I thought this was great. What did you guys think?
I thought it was great too. I knew we weren't going to get anything violent, but I did start thinking in my head for a minute. I don't even know why, but this is kind of unrelated, but it's related to my thoughts. I thought we were going to get a Masked Man attack CM Punk and reveal itself to be Zilla Fatu, because we've been seeing a lot with Zilla all over social media regarding the situation with Punk disrespecting Sika. But I don't think that it would have happened because of the apology towards the comment that he made for Sika. Yes, we could have gotten something violent, but I felt like this is what it needed. It needed just a calm, face-to-face, like, hey, no throwing hands, no putting hands on each other, no nothing, just face-to-face, word-to-word, heart-to-heart. I felt like that's what it needed, and especially what we've seen over the last couple weeks, it just deserved this level of a segment.
As much as I would have loved it, and Toxic and I have both been talking about this on and on and on, I am actually happy that Larry wasn't. I really am. Because even Drew McIntyre himself said in the past that not even he would go that low as to bring up Larry in a feud like that. So, and that's from Drew McIntyre, the man who legitimately had to get in a Hell in a Cell match just to end an entire feud, just to finish everything off with CM Punk. So the fact that Drew McIntyre himself wouldn't even go that low, you wouldn't think somebody like Roman would either. So Larry not being brought up was great. And with everything else with that, these two are yin and yang. They really are. With the fact that, as Blood said, they envy something that the other has that they can't, which is on Punk's side, all of the success that Roman has had. On Roman's side, the connection with the fans that Punk has. They are one giant yin and yang in all of them. They really are. And that's what's going to make this main event at WrestleMania even bigger when it main events on Sunday.
So that's where you guys draw the line, huh? Dead fathers are okay, but oh no, dead dogs. No, you can't talk about that. All right. Well, after all of the promos and all of the talking and the very, very little action we were getting on this episode, as much as I love Punk and Roman, I needed to see something more than what we saw. Like, say for instance, okay, we're going to leave most of the promos and most of the talking to the final segment of the main event, guys, Punk and Roman. Everyone else, we're going to have them do something a little different, and we're going to leave this intense moment at the very end between these two guys. Then maybe I would have said, hey, this was really good. But I felt like we've seen that already throughout this whole entire show. So now we got to see it again with Roman and Punk. And then last week, CM Punk talked shit for like 15 minutes at least. After all of that, after everything that CM Punk said about Roman, I didn't even feel like Roman responded to that at all. Now they're both agreeing with each other. Now they envy each other. Now I wish I was you. You wish you were me. And now, okay, what happened to all that fire from the last few weeks? It just disappeared. So,
No,
yeah, it was cool to see them, but...
See, I disagree with that because All they've been doing for the last month and a half is beat the shit out of each other. And they even had a triple threat match last year. I mean, they feuded 14 years ago. Punk literally beat all the Shield in one match, 3-on-1 on his own. Like, they've done the fisticuffs tons of times. This was the one time with all that history, with all those words that have been said, with all the punches that have been thrown, we never really understood fully, personally for them, why the hatred was so personal. And if Sunday is the last time we ever see them in a match together ever, I want to know that when it's all said and done, why were they really fighting? Not just because of professional jealousy. Why was it so deep to begin with? And this makes so much sense. It goes beyond what Punk said on the podcast, right? It goes beyond, Roman holding everything captive and being a politician. It comes down to Roman worked his ass off and was fucking hated by the fandom for a decade before they finally started cheering his name. He had all the WrestleManias, all the titles, all the headlining, but he had none of the love. Punk was gone for 10 years in that same time and was cheered in his absence more than the guy busting his ass every single fucking week to get all the stuff that Punk was begging for when he was there. It makes so much sense that before the storm starts on Sunday, you need the calm. This was the calm before the storm, because whatever they do to each other on Sunday, they both needed this personally. They needed to say these things to each other to finally clear this air. And I think it added so much more depth to this story. That's why I think this was necessary. We can punch each other all day. We're doing it on Sunday. But why? Why do I really want to hurt? That, to me, is more interesting than just hitting you. The storytelling is the most important part of pro wrestling. And I thought this was great here.
I'm not saying that they needed to fucking beat each other up, but like, it just felt like just dead to me.
But I understand where you're coming from too, especially when you're in the audience. And I saw that you weren't just watching Raw, you were also watching Main Event. You were, you're there for a while. You in the audience are just waiting for the next shoe to drop. I mean, come on the same show, we see Oba and Brock. They don't touch each other. We get to see a couple of people jump each other. We see all the Samoans on one show, and then your brain starts going, oh my God, I'm live in attendance. I'm going to see something great. And then at the end, it's just we talk. I get it. Totally get where you're coming.
That's just not a way to end a show. I was like, okay, maybe when they go off air, we'll see something else happen. Send the crowd home happy, right? And it's just like they face each other, they go off air, they face each other, then they slowly start walking apart from each other, backwards, still looking at each other, and then they walk away. And it's just
we didn't even see that. On the broadcast for us, it ends as soon as Roman literally says, "You will acknowledge me," and then and then the entire live thing ends. That's the last thing we saw. We never even saw them back away. The last thing we saw was the camera on Roman's face right after he says, "You and all those people will acknowledge me," and then all rights reserved. The live event has ended. So
again, I love Punk, I love Roman, but this was a shitty ending to Monday Night.
I mean, it might have been a shitty ending, but I think it was still great for their personal story. Maybe it shouldn't have been the last thing on the show. If it was the second to last thing on the show, I think that'd be cool. But at the same time, what do you put on the show that tops the aura of those two face to face to end the so was that the last thing in live attendance for you guys? Was that just the end? You guys all started clearing out and going to the parking lot?
That was it.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, other than that, that is the go home show for Monday Night Raw in the books. Thank you so much for kicking it with us here as always. Now, normally, of course, we would have been doing this Monday Night Raw review on a Monday, but Snug was in attendance for the Go Home Show Raw last night, so this is Tuesday. And a reminder, folks, from now until the end of Sunday night, WrestleMania Night 2, Snug Wrestling will be live every night around 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. EST, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. PST for Snug Wrestling, because tomorrow we will be doing night one predictions for WrestleMania live on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, Apple and Spotify. Same thing on Thursday night and on Friday after SmackDown, the SmackDown Go Home Show review right before WrestleMania. Saturday night and Sunday night, respectively, after both shows, we will be doing live post night 1 and 2 reviews. So please follow us on all of our social media. The links are in the descriptions for all of our socials. That is everywhere you can think of: YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, your sister's ass, Apple, and Spotify, and especially your sister's ass. That's got tons of clicks, I heard. Now, when it comes down to it, you guys can also follow us and support us over on tpublic.com, tpublic.com, snug-wrestling, to pick up your Snug Wrestling merch for this weekend for WrestleMania 42. And of course, guys, as always, until next time, thank you so much, so much. Stay safe, stay savage, and stay snug. And boys, that's the Go Home Show in the books. I said that was one time for the one time. I said that was
4 letters.
4 letters.
One word.